Good evening, this is James Cook, Assistant Professor of Social Science at the University of Maine at Augusta, and we're demonstrating the installation of the NodeXL template for an undergraduate social networks class, and also the transfer of a matrix full of network data from the UCINET package to NodeXL using the PAJEK or PAJEK, I'm not sure of the pronunciation, export function. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're looking right now at the homework for October 1st. And this is a step-by-step homework to accomplish all those tasks. Step 1 says you need to gain access to NodeXL software. Again, for University of Maine at Augusta students, you have access through the Augusta Randall Student Center Lab, through computers in the Bangor Eastport Hall Computer Lab, and also if you go to the front desk at University College Rockport, there is a single computer that has UCINET and NodeXL installed. The alternative is that you can use your own computer, which is of course much easier, but I also recognize the economic limits that some of you live within. However you do this, you're going to need to use both UCINET and NodeXL to follow my example. Last week we talked through the installation of UCINET. Let's talk about the installation of NodeXL tonight. To do that, we would either click this link here. As you can see, that takes us to nodexl.codeplex.com, or we could type that in the search bar ourselves, or the address bar of your browser. This is available through the Social Media Research Foundation, which is funded by Microsoft directly. It is a trustworthy piece of software. There's a big purple download button here. Click it. You'll see an advertisement, and then you'll see, depending on what browser you're in, I always use Internet Explorer in these videos because most people do. You may see some question that says, do you want to open it or save it? Let's open this because it's a zip file. And let's not check that. That's just a pop-up. You're going to have a zip file. You can use a Windows extractor to extract it. I use WinZip Pro. I am going to extract those files. And I've added those, and I'm going to click unzip. And I'm going to unzip to a folder on my desktop so I can find it. And then let's take a look at my desktop. It's going to, let's take a look at that. It's going to contain a NodeXL folder. Let's open that. I see something here that says setup. I'm going to click that. I'm going to run it. And I want to authorize the program to make changes to my computer. I see something flashing down at the bottom. Let's click that and see what's happening. Look, there's a NodeXL template setup wizard. I want to make it available to everyone on my computer, different users. I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to watch it install. Now, if this takes a long time, I'll pause the video or speed it up. But look, it didn't take much time at all. I can register. I don't have to. This is okay to use anonymously. For purposes today, I'm not going to register. And it gives you instructions. Okay? It tells you how to start. You either click All Programs or Programs in XP in the Windows Start menu, and then find NodeXL and click NodeXL template. It says it's been successfully installed. Let's hit close to exit and let's test to see if we can find it. I hit the funny little bended window icon. I have a key for it, or I could go down to the corner here and click it, and then I'm going to look for NodeXL. Oh, it says NodeXL XL template. I click it, it opens. Wonderful. Now this will work if you have Microsoft Office installed. Not Microsoft Office Starter, which is a different program, but the full Microsoft Office suite, and it's a relatively recent model. You'll notice that there are a number of tabs on the top. Some of them are recognizable, and one called NodeXL here is not. All the options that we'll want to use for changing what we see are going to be available in the top ribbon and in a set of tabs at the bottom. Great. NodeXL is installed and it's ready to go. I'm going to close it right now so that we can now proceed with the homework, the job of which is to transfer a UCINET file, a full network expressed as a matrix, over to NodeXL. Unfortunately, right now, the exporting and importing process is not as simple as you might think. That's because these are two programs that are a little bit different from one another. Now, I have started UCINET. Here is UCINET. And what am I going to do with that? I am going to follow the instructions, and it tells me to take the regular UCINET matrix file you created last week. I created one too, to represent a family of relations. Okay, that's great. And I'm going to convert it into a PyEK or PyJek format, PAJEK, by using the data export PyEK network command. It says to select. Now I already have, but I'm going to go find it again. Okay, I'm going to find my James Family Network file, which I saved last week. And I am going to select No for launch PyEK on exit, because I don't want to launch that program. I really just want to use that format to save it, because that is a format that NodeXL can read. Unfortunately, it can't read UCINET data files, at least for matrices, directly. PyEK seems to be the one that works most stably, which is why we're using that. Although you'll see there's a little bit of a wrinkle. Now I'm also going to go here to output network file, and I'm going to look at that carefully. JamesFamilyNetwork.net. Oh, and I'm going to see where it goes. Aha! It's going to data files. And I see it there already because I've already done this example, but I'm going to, previously to make sure it worked, but I'm going to export it again. And it'll just create another file that overwrites it. Okay, good. So that's where it's going to go. And I'm going to hit OK to make it run. Oh, great. There's a text file. What is that? Okay, it is a set of vertices with some statistics that we could talk about later. It tells me how many there are. There are 50. Now you'll notice I have some names like GGP1, GGP2, GGP3. They stand for great-grandparents, the names of which I don't know. Some aunts and uncles. I don't know the names of all my aunts and uncles. My father had 14 brothers and sisters, and I never learned their names. Then it has a list of arcs. You'll notice each of the vertices here has a number associated with it. And what's that? Under arcs, that's what we often call edges or ties. And this is an edge list. One is tied to 2, one is tied to 3. Oh, and what's that 1.000? It's the weight, the strength of the tie. Excellent. So it's an edge list right there that can be read by a computer, which is what a PyEK file is. And now I'm going to head over and I'm going to try to import it in NodeXL. And we may see a wrinkle. let's take a look at NodeXL again. I'm going to always want to hit the NodeXL tab at the top. And then if you look over at the left, there's an import option. I'm going to choose PyEC file. And I'm going to go to the place I know where UCINET is installed and where the data files are. We covered this last week. For most of you, it will be on your computer, under the icon there, C, Program Files, and then look for Analytic Technologies. Data Files. What? No items matched my search. What? I'm looking for a .NET file. We just saw it there, didn't we? Why isn't it there? The answer is that unfortunately, Windows often tries to protect you, and it tries to protect you by hiding things from you that it thinks you shouldn't see, including strange files that are hidden on the C drive under Program Files. It thinks maybe it'll be a virus. Well, how do we get around this? It's not appearing. I'll tell you, I beat my head against the wall a little bit against this problem, but in your homework, if you're a student, you'll notice that there is a piece of red text that says important, and following that are the instructions that I'm going to follow now in order to recover that information and be able to use it. This is so that you can take UCINET information, put it up on NodeXL, do what's good with the NodeXL program, and then maybe you can save it back into a PyEC file again, and then import it with UCINET back and forth so you can use both programs to do what each program does well. Okay, well, let's head back to UCINET. Okay, let's see. I'm going to cancel the import here in NodeXL and head down to the bottom and click my UCINET. There's that file, right? Well, what can I do? Fortunately, this is a log file. The log file is showing me the resulting PyEC output. I'm going to select it all. I am taking my cursor to the beginning of the file. I'm clicking down the left button, and then I'm dragging the mouse down or the trackpad down until it gets down to the end. Then I'm going up to Edit, and I'm hitting Copy. And now I'm going to start another program. It's called Notepad. Okay, you can find it by hitting N-O-T-E, and there's Notepad. There are other programs that appear too, but Notepad's the one we're going to use. Now, this is by copying it, I put it in something called a clipboard. Now I'm going to paste it into the Notepad. There it is. Okay, in a form I can work with, and I'm going to save it someplace else. Someplace Windows doesn't bother with so much. Someplace I have control over. That's the desktop. And I'm going to save it there, not as a text file, but by selecting all files and calling it myfamily.net. The .net is essential because that's how your computer knows it's a PyEC file. So I'm going to save, and I notice that it's on the desktop. I remember that. Yes. And there it is. That's wonderful. I can close that now. And I'm going to head back to NodeXL. And now I'm going to say, let's try again to import my file from PyEC file. And now I'm looking for something on the desktop. This is always good to have these backups in mind, by the way. Just in case your first line of attack doesn't work, try it again in another way. We could get upset about this, but also recognize these are kind of edgy programs. They're often updated. They often change. They often are buggy because they're produced by people who don't have large budgets. So let's be sympathetic about the troubles they face. I'm going to open it now from the desktop. Wonderful. It has a little sign here that says, to speed up the import, text wrapping will be turned off. Is that okay? Sure, that's okay. Let's hit yes. And, oh, wonderful. Look what I have here. Well, these are the different vertices, which are the same as nodes. And if we want to see them listed alphabetically, we could go over here. Okay, vertices are over here. Wonderful. Same as nodes. How many do I have? Well, it says 52, but you notice it doesn't begin till row 3. So I could say, oh, what's 52 minus the 2 that aren't counted? Well, that would be 50. Another way of doing a count is to hold down and drag down all the way through. And then it will tell me over here that I have a count of 50 rows that I've selected. I have 50 nodes. Many of you had a similar number in your homework last week. So, what am I going to do with this now? I have my vertices. I have my edges. I'm going to show a graph. Now, oh my. Well, there are nodes. There are lines. Oh dear. There are a lot of them, aren't there? There are 50 of them. Could look worse. I could organize that randomly. It looks like an utter mess. Is there any sense to it? Can you see any pattern to it? I sure can't. There are a few ways that you can begin to track people. One of the handy ways to do that is to select a vertex, which is the singular of vertices. Look at that one over there. That one looks really popular. Who's that? Oh, Grandpa 2. That's right. Grandparent 2, who had 14 kids, along with the other grandparent, which is probably this one over here. Yeah, Grandparent 1. They were pretty lot together. Wonderful. I can notice that it tells me which one is which, okay, by highlighting the result over here on the left. That's great as far as it goes, but do you want to click on that 40 times to find out, oh, that's New Mariano right there. Oh, that's not telling me much. I really need to arrange these nodes in a different pattern to tell me something. I can head through them. Ah, that's pretty. I don't know what it means, but it's pretty. That was a circle. I could try a spiral. Ooh, that's really pretty. I still don't know what it tells me. I'm going to keep trying. Polar absolute. Oh, that's a mess. That's just one dot. Let's try, vertical sine wave, and I just keep going and going. Again, pretty. I don't know what it means until I find something that expresses the idea of the family network that I'm looking for. This is the idea I have in my head of my family, and it's expressed automatically in NodeXL through a sociogram. That's great. Now I'm going to try to find myself. Let's see, I think that might be me. Oh, that's my brother, who also has 3 kids and is married. We're somewhat structurally equivalent in that regard. That's me right there. I have 2 brothers. Wonderful. And there we go. And, oh no, that's my mother. Let's try me over here. That's me right there. You see, so many of us are structurally equivalent. We each branch off. It's gotta pay attention. That was my mother, Margaret. And that's me right there. Wonderful. We, by the way, have gone down all the way to point 7. Here's where I want you to get a little bit creative. Point 7 in the homework says, follow the examples of Chapter 4 of the Hansen et al. Textbook. That's the NodeXL textbook that we're using in our class to generate a sociogram. Make sure to use different colors and shapes of nodes to refer to different kinds of people in the family network. What does different kinds of people mean? Well, there's the self. Let's see, I could refer to myself as black. I could use a different size to refer to myself. Make myself extra big because that's what egos usually do. I'm going to refresh the graph. And look, there I am. Okay, so now I know I'm me. I could give myself a label. By the way, you could take these and copy these labels, and I believe you can paste them in place. Let's see if that works. Go up to the top, paste them in place. Oh, lovely. I could try to do that for everyone, but look what happens when I do that. Whoa, okay. Hey, that's not so bad. With just 50, I can actually have them all named, although over on the right, grandparent 1 and grandparent 2 are a little overlapping. Still, it's not so bad. All the anonymous aunts and uncles surrounding them and the great-grandparents. What else could I do? Well, I could think about maybe some idea about gender. For instance, I know Walter's a man. I could be stereotypical and pink and blue, but I think I'm going to do green and red just because I want to be different. Let's make the boys red. Let's make the women, the females, green. Elizabeth is green. Jonathan is red. Red, 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 green. I'm not going to do the whole thing right now in front of you, but clearly you could go through and you notice, oh, okay, now I'm starting to see some patterns. What else could I do? I could distinguish between those, and many of you did this, by the way, in your homework, and that was really cool. I could distinguish between those at distance 1 from me, like Margaret. Who else? Clifford is at distance 1. I'm going to say, if you go up to the top, you can click here and you can get a list of shapes. I'm going to do a diamond. That's number 6. Okay, let's see. Who's at distance 1 from me? Not my brothers. Let's see. Who is Clifford? Father. And Margaret, my mother. My wife, Tracy. My daughter, Tess, and my son, Noah. I'm going to make them diamonds. And let's make them a little bigger so that they're visible. Now let's refresh the graph again. Oh, that is so cool. Now I have 2 kinds of information that are being conveyed. Could I do a 3rd kind of information? Sure. I could, do all sorts of things. Move groups around and put circles around other groups to indicate that some were in state and living in the state of Maine, as most of us are right now, or out of the state of Maine. All sorts of things. I could organize them by age. I could do it by occupation if I had enough information. Whether they died young or whether they died after childbearing age. All kinds of things I could do. But this is just a start for you to get started. Now, what am I going to do next? It says, following the instructions on Henson et al., page 85, copy the image of your sociogram and paste it into a word processing document. Always submit your files as word processing documents. Please don't send me NodeXL files or spreadsheets or things like that. Why? Simple reason. A word processing document is pretty stable. NodeXL files and other things like that, sometimes if you can see something, I don't see the same thing. Sometimes when you transfer a NodeXL file from one person to another, the sociogram information gets lost. And if it gets lost, then I'll just look at it and say, hey, you didn't do any work on it. You don't get any credit. If it's cut and paste into a word processing document, I as a grader can see what you're doing. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to zoom over onto the image of the sociogram, our network graph to use another synonym, and I am going to copy image to clipboard. Okay, I right-clicked to get that option, then I left-clicked the option. Now I'm going to start Microsoft Word. I do that by hitting the Start key and then typing in Word, and boom, it appears. Now I type in my name, of course. That's always good, although if you upload your assignment, Blackboard will note who you are usually, but it never hurts. September 21, 2012. And now I am going to paste that in. Boom. I save this file, upload it to Blackboard. You're done with your homework for the week. Good luck. If you have any trouble, please let me know as soon as possible. Don't wait to try this at home. Because there can be some hiccups, as you saw. We can work through them together. There may be some hiccups that you discover that I didn't because we work on different computers. That's kind of the nature of working with computers in non-standard environments these days, and social network analysis packages are not mainstream enough to be completely smoothed over for you. That's just part of the nature of dealing with it, and it's part of the experience that I can't say I want you to have, but that you need to have if you are going to do social network analysis in the future. Okay, great. I think we're done. Good luck doing this yourself, and please be sure to do the complete assignment with all of the nodes and not just stop halfway through like I did here.